launch. Choose your host. Sally Lawson.
82% of landlords are not using letting agents for managed services.
Level up launch. Ready, go!
Well, thank you so much for joining me here today for our Level Up launch. Now, we like to do something like this every year. We've had Sally's birthday bash. We've had the 0 to 60 acceleration celebration. We even had the 7-year switch up, which was a play on the 7-year itch words. So it really is fantastic to be here today. And really, I'm going to share with you so many different ways that you can look to scale your business. Now, we've been plugging away for the last year, helping agents, letting agents all across the UK, just like you, to really scale up your revenue. And we're going to be showcasing some of those examples. So I'm really looking forward to sharing with you so many different things today. And we've broken that down into 4 different sections. But first of all, I'm going to introduce one of my co-hosts. Now, my co-host will not be a stranger to most of you. Most of you will know Ali. He's been around for a few years now. He's actually one of my other coaches. He's actually a director of one of my branches. So he's a business partner, a colleague, a friend, and a coach. And so we all know him very well. So let me introduce you to Ali Durant. Please come and join us up here. There we go. This is Ali. So Ali's going to be co-directing here. Sorry. He's going to be co-hosting today. I would love to put a little thingy of you. Look, a little avatar. How cool is that? Absolutely awesome. Yeah, it's really great, isn't it? So Ali's going to be co-hosting today. But what we're also going to be doing as well is we're going to be interviewing lots of other people that have actually started to make those changes in their business and made things happen. So myself and Ali, we're going to be talking about 4 different things. The main thing is about how we can really make a difference in our letting agency businesses. And the first thing we're going to talk about is marketing. Now, I've brought Ali in on this one because it's the first thing that Ali really has focused on. And he's been absolutely amazing at implementing all of the systems and all of the strategies into our letting agency business. And so that's something we're going to be talking to him about. We're going to be focusing on the 3 other horsemen that we have in order to transform our business. That's the 82%. Those of you who don't know what that is, 82% of landlords right now are not using letting agents for managed services. 82%. That's pretty scary. So we're going to be talking about how we've been helping letting agents and how letting agents have implemented in their business to start to convert that 82%. Because let's be honest, if we don't start to do that, we've got a problem. We're going to talk about restructuring your business for profit so that you can start, rather than working on 11% profit, focusing on more like 20% profit, 30% profit, 40% profit. We're also going to be talking about how you can scale up fast too through acquisition and really make a difference to your business. And we've actually got one guest who's going to be joining us later who's actually added over 3 million in growth to their business. So we're not going to tell you who that is, but that's pretty impressive. So just tell me a little bit about you, Ali. Ali, you've been around a little while and you've been an estate agent, a letting agent, you've done all sorts of things. So tell the guys who you are and where you're from.
Yeah, I've been an agent for the best part of about 20 years. I started at 17. I've owned a couple of branches, started at 21 in terms of my business career. Enjoyed a wonderful 8 or 9 years owning a couple of estate agency branches before moving up to the Midlands and started working with Sally about 6 years ago. That's when I quickly made the transition to lettings. That was a real crash course, a lot of big lessons along the way, massive jump. I also very quickly got introduced to funnel marketing and all these different types of leads and new landlords hitting the database, and also very quickly had to work out a solution of how to A, service the audience, but B, how to really capitalize on those leads. So for the last 6 years, I've been really focusing on lead conversion, building the systems, and obviously really restructuring the business for success and growth through funnel marketing. So that's a bit about me.
Ah, fantastic. And here you are. All righty. So let's talk about some of the challenges that we're fighting at the moment in the letting agency industry. We have some really big pains out there. And one of my job, I feel, as a founder of Agent Rainmaker, and my job is to help letting agents to grow and to scale and whatever, is to find solutions to these problems. And so I'm always focusing on what's the problem now. And there's some that are absolutely obvious, like this one, the Renters' Rights Bill. Everybody is talking about the Renters' Rights Bill. We're talking about how can we find a way around it? What do we need to do about it? What changes do we need to make in our business? What effect is that going to have on our landlords? What effect is that going to have on our paperwork? How do we stay compliant? How do we recover the costs? All those sort of things. It's a real big issue. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I own letting agencies. We manage a few thousand properties. I get you. It is an issue. But is it the biggest issue? And that's the question I want to ask you here today. Is it the biggest issue? Because really, let's think about it. There's some other things going on. So let's have a little look at what some of those other things are. Well, first of all, who here actually has VAs or external employees? Give us a hand raise if some of you use VAs. I can see a few of your hands up there. Because the workforce has changed. Do you remember, Ali, when it used to just be someone in your office?
Absolutely, yeah.
And now all of a sudden now you've got like people all over the country. We've got people in South Africa,
We have.
Philippines.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the people that work for me, I've got them based in Northern Ireland, in London. They're all over the place. They don't have to be in the UK. My tenancy managers, for example, my property managers, they're all home workers. They could literally be anywhere and be speaking to our landlord clients. And so that has changed the way we work. And we've got COVID to thank for that. But that's one thing that's changing. Now, the next one. Who's had a little dabble with ChatGPT? Give me a hand raise. Who's had a little play with Chat? Who's used it today? Let's have a hand raise if you used it today.
Yeah.
We all love a bit of ChatGPT, don't we? AI. And of course, AI is changing everything. I actually asked ChatGPT yesterday, what's going to happen in 25 years? What will the world look like in 25 years? And it actually said that most of the jobs that exist now will not exist in 25 years' time. We'll be 3D printing our food. We won't travel anymore. We'll just use these virtual reality glasses. And really, it's only really the sort of roles that are thought-provoking roles or manual labor roles that can't be done by robots that will exist. So I actually thought that was pretty scary.
Absolutely.
But really, as business owners, we've got to start thinking about how we can integrate AI into everything that we do. And we're going to be sharing here today some really cool things that we're using AI for. So things like lead generation, lead conversion, video production. You just saw that video at the beginning. There's so many things that you can use AI for now that will really make a big difference to your business. And you've got an interesting stat, actually. What was that one about our AI bot booked how many appointments for you?
Yeah, so far this year, our AI chatbot with is a first responder to all of our new leads from the funnels. Has booked 290 appointments across all of the funnels. So far this year, 8 months. That's 36 appointments a month on average. With investors, with landlords, we've even had some sales valuations from it. It's been phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing. 290. Right? I didn't know that. That was really cool. All right, so AI. It's one of the big challenges we have at the moment. We can ignore it and we can pretend it's going to go away. I can remember when the internet first came out and it was like, nah, it'll never catch on. Google, who's going to bother with that? Give me a brochure any day. Of course, things changed. Next, employee needs. Raise your hand if you've noticed employees want different things now. Just give me a hand raise. Who's talking flexi working? They want to be able to pick the kids up. They want a different environment now to what they needed then. The world has really, really changed around employee needs. So that's one big thing that we certainly need to be servicing in our office. And we've certainly noticed on recruitment, haven't we? That people are asking for very different things. We actually had a tenancy manager just last week start and left the same day because she thought she was going to be able to pick her kids up, drop her kids off, work when she wanted, and clearly something gone wrong in the recruitment process there. She just clearly didn't understand that. But it seems it's an expectation now as opposed to a request, which is interesting. So how do we deal with that? Irrelevant services. Now, I've put this in here because one of the big challenges we have is letting agents just offer two services, which is lettings and management. And yet there is so many other things that we can offer, but it is irrelevant to most of the landlords out there. And it's certainly irrelevant to the 82%. 82% of landlords. Who's surprised by that number, by the way? 82% of landlords not using agents for managed service. Give me a hand raise, by the way. If this is like a crazy high number to you. It's a lot of people that are not using letting agents. There's 1.1 million landlords, 4.4 million properties, and 82% of those are not using us. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a massive number.
Huge.
And when that gets to 90% and 95%, where do we go then? So one of the questions is, do we sit here and just, okay, that's 82% then? or do we do something about it? Because we've got to become relevant to the 82%, or else what? We're dodos walking off a cliff, basically. We are literally looking at the cliff and going, oh, it's 82%, but I can't change. I'm just doing lettings and management. That's what we do. We can't do anything else because we've always done it like that. That's the way we've always done things. I don't think that's a good idea. So 82%, we have to change. We have to look at how we can turn that around. All right, another number for you. 25% of vacates. 25% of your properties are vacating. 25% of your properties that are vacating are going on the properties for sale register. 25% of the properties that are vacating, so when a tenant says, I'm leaving, 25% of those vacates will go on the for sales register. They are selling. 25%. Give me a hand raise if you think that's quite a scary number. I was quite shocked by that number when I heard it. 25%. That's a lot of people selling. Now, Ali's an estate agent by trade. That was his former world.
First love.
And when he first came to me, he says, I hate lettings. I only like estate agency. You're a bit of a convert now, aren't you?
I am.
He is.
I am.
But what would you have been done? Lettings department, property coming on the market, probably coming vacant, and they want to sell it. You'd have been all happy days.
Absolutely. Well, when I first started, you told me off very quickly for selling off all your landlord stock, and then taught me the off-market
And you thought you were
method,
doing such a great job.
I know, I did.
You?
I thought wonderful. All these instructions, great, but no, absolutely not.
No, it's not good. It really isn't good. So we've got to stop that, because 25% of your vacates going on the market for sale really isn't good. And so we've got to find a way to plug that hole, that colander of properties that we're losing, which is absolutely crazy. So we need to do something about that. And all of that, if you look at it, results in this, which is a 12% profit margin. 11.9% is the actual figure for the top 1,000 agents in the UK, is what they're generating in profit. And I just reiterate, that is the top 1,000 letting agents in the UK. So, for the rest of us, that's not great. So what do we do about that? And this is why I say the renters' rights bill is what everybody's focused on. And I get it. We are too. It's something we've got to focus on. But is it the number one pain that we have to deal with right now? Drop in the chat what you think the number one pain is. The real problem, the war that we're fighting, not the thing that's a temporary hassle. It's not the battle, it's the war. What do you think is the number one thing that we're fighting right now? Because I actually don't think it's renters' rights bill. It'll change, but we had this in Scotland. We've had it in Wales. There was still a rental market. There was still rental properties. There's still landlords.
Absolutely.
Maybe a few less because they get a bit scared by it. But in reality, there's a bigger challenge. And that bigger challenge, I believe, is the 82%. Give me a hand raise if you agree. 82%. Over the last 10 years has become 82%. Where is that going? What number is it going to get to, and what do we do about it? Well, I want you to write this down. You're absolutely right, Julie. Landlords exiting the market. Number one, write this down. This is what we've got to do. We've got to learn to market to the 82% and convert the 82%. If we don't, we have a problem. Make sense, guys? Give me a nod or a shake. We have to learn to convert that 82%. There's a little picture here for you. I want you to keep this in your mind. AI did this for me, which is absolutely great. This is dodos coming off the cliff. And this is how I see a lot of letting agents. We are literally just walking off the cliff, which is pretty scary. So it's not a good look at all, really. We need to do something about that. I was researching the dodo bird, actually. It's quite interesting. Mauritius, they're from.
Okay.
And they died because the humans went there and changed their infrastructure, and they just perished. They didn't adapt. They couldn't adapt. They couldn't change, and they ended up just all perishing to be existent. Apparently, they're trying to bring them back now with genealogy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll see. Yeah, very interesting. All righty, so why do we do this? My job, I see, is to change the industry, or maybe it's to save the industry, I don't know. It's feeling a little bit like a save as opposed to a change. And we're going to do that through evolution, okay? We're going to do that through evolving letting agency businesses. We're not just going to do lettings and management anymore. We're going to start to focus on really making sure that we're growing our businesses and focusing on the market that traditionally everybody is ignoring. So what are the 4 horsemen that we are going to be looking at to change? Oh, look at that little horse there, doing a little weird man with his suitcase there, riding the horse. Absolutely awesome. So we're going to look at the first one of the 4 horsemen, which is marketing. All right, so give me a hand raise if you here currently do digital marketing. Just give me a hand raise if you currently do digital marketing. Fantastic. Give me a hand raise if you don't do digital marketing yet. Give me a hand raise if you don't do it yet. All right, so most of you are saying that you do from the ones that I can see, which is cool. Now, I've brought Ali in here because Ali has the lovely task, bless him, as running my branch, of being the first that gets to try out every funnel, every marketing tactic, every technique. So he's always a little bit ahead of everybody because he gets there first, which is great. He also has the complexity of dealing with all the new stuff, which you do chunter a little bit, but he does a fantastic job of getting it through. So the reason I brought Ali here is some really interesting figures that I wanted you to talk about. Now, you always assess, we really focus on the cost per lead, cost per click, cost per acquisition, results from all the marketing. Last year, you did a cracking number of revenue from the funnel leads. But before we talk about the revenue generate, just talk to me about how you generate the leads. What is it? Just very briefly.
Yeah, so effectively, so what I do at branch level is when we map out a new funnel to launch, so it might be a guide download, or it might be a webinar, or it might be something like that. What I do is I start looking at the language, I start thinking about the potential services, the potential offers, so I can start mapping out the ad language, film the ads, and think about how I can really attract the right traffic onto a landing page and generate the leads into the business. From there, I then design the sales system from lead to eventual clients. So I'll think, right, what content can I create to nurture them? What sort of emails have to go in the background? What do my sales team need to say on the calls and talk about? And how can I really keep my audience engaged? So effectively, in a nutshell, what I do is I'm always thinking about how I can market to a wide audience and get them down to my ideal clients using funnels and lead conversion techniques.
Interesting. And the result of that last year?
So last year we did about £226,000 of new revenue from our funnel marketing, which was 15 times ad spend last year, which really pleased with. So fantastic return for 2024.
That's fantastic. That's really good. So what was that as an X?
That's about 15x return.
15x return. So you spent 15 and you got 226
absolutely
back, which for every pound you spent, you got £15 back.
Absolutely.
And that's how we like to assess that in the marketing world. If you spend £1, how many pounds do you get back? Now, of course, there's the funnel marketing, generate leads or whatever. What is the biggest challenge, though, with that? Is it the conversions, would you say? Yeah,
I mean, look, there's everything represents a challenge. So I remember and I tell this story regularly, the first time you turned on 4 funnels overnight for me. I had 180 leads in my inbox over a weekend, guys. Bear in mind, I've never dealt with funnels. I'm new to lettings. I've never really dealt with landlords and investors. So challenge number one is, right, all of a sudden I've got this avalanche of leads. How am I going to service them? Who's going to call them? How can I make that? Then, of course, you've got to start getting the team in place to do it. Challenge number two is, you've got to remember these people have been dodging your managed services for years. You probably need to start thinking outside the box and something new. And then you've got a training issue. And challenges come, one by one. But get the leads first, then you can box off the next challenge, and you can just knock them out the park as you go along. Create the process as you go along.
Fantastic. It's amazing. It's really been fascinating watching you go through that process as well. There was one particular funnel. I know you like webinars and you like the on-market and the off-market funnel. So just talk to me a little bit about the webinars, for example.
Well, I think the webinars are the most phenomenal funnel that we have now. To sum it up, we said we've done a 15x return across all of our funnels last year. The webinar combined with the compliance guide was 45x return.
Good God. Wow.
It's by far for years, it's been our biggest business generator. It's got so many uses. So I've been doing it for nearly 6 years now. Every quarter, building my authority, building an audience, being recognised in my local area as the person to go to. It gets me in front of portfolio landlords. It's had so many conversions. One year I converted over 100 let-only to fully managed properties just from that strategy. So I think it's absolutely phenomenal for so many reasons. And it's by far the one. If I said to anybody just starting out what funnel to go with, start with that strategy.
Interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting. I know he has something called the sauna strategy as well. Do you want to share that one briefly? It's quite funny, this one. So write this down, by the way, guys. Webinar funnel. Get yourself a webinar. Really important. Yeah.
So one of the benefits I have, having done our ads and been the face of these ads for 5 or 6 years now, the local area has seen so much of my content and videos that I cannot go anywhere without being seen, bumped into. There's been so many stories from the sauna where I've sat down and someone's gone, "Oh, you're Ali from the property. I've seen you in West Park and your landlord thing and all this. Oh, I've got properties. I'm thinking of selling, or my uncle's got properties." And I've literally just generated new clients just from being sat in the sauna. I even went to my local Indian a few weeks ago, and the guy said, "Oh, you're the guy from TikTok." Right.
And yesterday I had somebody ask you to do a speaking gig for them.
Yeah. So I've recently started posting about public speaking, and it's all famous. Of a sudden that happens. So there you go. There you go. Get posting.
Absolutely, get posted, get sharing out there. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the on-market and off-market as well. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, a lot of landlords want to sell at the moment, and we've got to block that. We've got to stop that hole,
Yeah.
that leakage. And so one of the challenges we thought is like, well, if you were a landlord wanting to sell, what would be the problem? Well, the problem is most estate agents will ask you to put the property vacant and kick the tenant out. Then you stick it on the market. You might sell it, you might not sell it. And you have this void period. So we thought, well, what about if we could sell it with a tenant in to an investor? So we created the on-market and the off-market funnels, 2 funnels, because there's 2 types of people in that. There's the landlords that want to sell and there's the landlords that want to buy. And so we have the on-market, which is get the landlords to put their property on the market. And then we have the off-market, which is for landlord investors that want to buy the properties off-market, which aren't on the general market for sale. So on-market and off-market. Now, I know this is one of your favourites as well. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I absolutely love this, and it kind of rings true. And you've obviously mentioned already, 25% of vacates are generally going on the market for sale. Most landlords will believe that they have to wait until their tenant leaves to sell a property. I keep an eye on industry news. I read all the stats, and the surveys would suggest that about 25% of landlords are considering exiting soon or in the not so distant future, selling some or all of their properties. So instead of waiting for them to get to vacate, this is a really nice way of actually making sure you've got an opportunity to retain your stock. So it effectively is a method of sale developed for landlords, meaning they can sell with the tenant in situ, link them up with another investor, makes the whole process nice and easy. It gives us the benefit of being able to have that control, tie the new investor into a management agreement, so we can retain our managed clients if they're considering selling. We can work with that and get a new investor. But then when we launched that funnel and took it to the wider audience of self-managing landlords that we don't manage, it also gets a lot of new conversations with self-managing landlords that are not approaching us for managed services because they don't want that. But if they're considering selling and we give a different type of service offering to what the other agents are doing, it's attracting a lot more for our books now.
So just before you say this, now guys, who here does sales as well as lettings? Give me a hand raise if you do sales as well as lettings. All right, there's quite a few of you. You want to hear these stats. Now, we're obviously predominantly letting agents. We do sales.
Yep.
So Ali does both. It does lettings and sales. But just listen to these stats. So go on. What happened?
Yeah, so the first year that we launched this, when we took it out to the wider audience and launched a new funnel, we generated over £80,000 of revenue in year 1 from sourced properties. Some of the properties ended up selling on the open market. Some of them went down the online auction route. But we generated a good chunk of business and built a healthy pipeline. That generated some obviously new takeovers into management from the source properties as well. Since then, it's literally consistently generating between 5 and 10 new instructions every single month.
Sales instructions.
Sales instructions, either a landlord that wants to sell on the off market, or if that doesn't quite work, we convert them to open market, we convert them to auction. But between 5 and 10 solid instructions a month from that one funnel to go on top of what we're already doing. Absolutely phenomenal. And there's a lot of portfolio clients,
Mate, I didn't know that number until this week. That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
5 to 10
Fantastic funnel.
new instructions per month for sales.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. Guys, if you're doing sales, that's great. But of course, the reason Ali's doing it is he wants to find investors that buy those properties and keeps the managed stock by getting them under contract. So absolutely happy days, win-win both ways. All right, cool. Absolutely fantastic. Now, one of the things that we were talking about as well is you've launched a new funnel recently, the Renters' Rights Bill one. That's going quite well. So just talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, this was a way of freshening up a couple of things. So freshening up the compliance guide. Obviously, the compliance guide, has been around for years. It's a very tried and proven, tested funnel. It works really well. It goes side by side in my webinars, of course. I funnel them in there. But with implementation coming so close now, it was a nice way to get a new message out there about the Renters' Rights Bill, because we hadn't done a guide for a while. And just hammering on the fact that, look, this is coming sooner than you think. We've got, some big changes all coming at once. You've got to be prepared, and just refreshing that marketing message. So launch the Renters' Rights Bill, updated guide, had a really good return on ad spend in terms of new leads. So the cost per lead is literally about £4 a lead at the moment. It's absolutely fantastic. We also remarketed the new funnel to our existing database and had hundreds of people enter into that new pipeline, and they're now being nurtured into a webinar for next month all about the Renters' Rights Bill and how important it is right now to get things right. I think it could be our biggest ever webinar based on the sort of numbers we've got in that pipeline. but we'll wait and see. So we're all hands on deck at the moment, really working hard to get as many landlords on that webinar so we can work on getting health checks and then try and convert them into
Health
fully
checks
managed
lead to
clients.
into fully managed conversion, which we'll talk
Absolutely.
about later. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting how the renters' rights bill, compliance check, webinar, they
Yeah.
all just work together, don't they?
They
all
really
just
do.
work together.
And I very much look at it. I mean, we talked about, is it our biggest challenge, renters' rights bill? Personally, I agree with you. I don't think it is. I just see opportunity for marketing. I just think it keeps us relevant. It gives us an excuse to engage with our audience, and it gives them a reason to want to engage with us because it's information they need, and a lot of them don't know. And I've had so many conversations personally over the last couple of months to landlords through that funnel. They have no idea. A lot of them have no idea. So it's great.
It is amazing, isn't it, really? And as I say, the more complex things are, the more they need an agent. So I think it's a great opportunity. It really
Keeps
is.
us relevant.
Alrighty. So this is Ali. He's given us overview on how we operate in our branch, which is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for that, Ali. I'm going to bring over Harriet now. Is Harriet there with us? I believe she's on holiday at the moment, actually. Is Harriet on holiday? She is. Hello. Now here's a little slide from Harriet. I don't know if you can see this or can't see this. This is incredible results from Harriet. Now, we call in the office, we call Harriet our seminar queen because she has absolutely made it her own. She has absolutely knocked it out the park by starting to do seminars. Now, we all converted to webinars around the time of COVID, but of course now people want to be back in the room again, don't they? They want to have a beer and a drink and look in your eyes and have a chat. There's a seminar. Harriet saw this opportunity, launched her first seminar, and has had incredible results. So she's had over £700,000 additional revenue in the business generally, but she has a shocking £81,000 average revenue generated per seminar stroke webinar over the last 5 events. That is amazing, Harriet. And I think that's a record, actually, isn't it? I think it's got to be a record.
Yeah, smashing it.
Tell us how you did it.
Well, to be honest, I wish there was like a little trick or a magic secret, but there's not. I literally just show up in front of my landlord community, tell them what they don't know and why they need to use me, basically, in a nutshell. And, there's no other agents in my town that are doing what we do. There's no other agents for a very, very long way that do what we do. And I think a lot of people hold really great value to that. They love that they've got an agent standing in front of them, telling them all of the stuff that they need to know in respect of lettings, and it just builds great relationships for us, to be honest with you. And it's not necessarily that people do stand there in front of me and instruct me there and then, but it's they keep coming back to me, and after sort of 5, 6, 7 phone calls, then they'll be like, "Oh, Harriet, just manage it for me." So it's almost like these are like the little gifts that keep on giving. You're constantly on these people's radar because you've been in front of them, you've been honest and open and upfront about what's going on, and I think people really value that.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean, do you find that people tend to come more than once? So you said this, they come 2, 3 or 4 times, and sometimes 3rd, 4th or 5th time before they instruct you. Are you seeing that now? So consistency is important?
Oh, absolutely. I think at our last event, which was in April, we counted that we'd got 25 landlords there that had attended every single previous event, webinar, seminar, they'd been on them.
Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to know the stats. I'm not expecting you to know it off the top of your head, but I would love to know the stats from both of you, actually. What is the average number of webinar stroke seminars people attend before they instruct you? Would you have a guess?
Well, it varies between the bigger portfolio landlords. From the conversions off the top of my head, I would suggest it's a good 18 months or so, the bigger portfolios.
The big one, like 30 plus properties,
the real juicy
that's your
new
favourite
business.
ones,
It
isn't
is,
it?
of course.
What would you say, Harriet, if you had to guess?
Yeah. If I had to guess, the singular landlords, the landlords that have only got one, they're perhaps accidental landlords thinking they can wing it themselves. I would probably say 2 events. And then we're instructed.
Quicker turnaround,
Yeah.
It's less work for them to move 2 properties over as opposed to 30 properties over, isn't it? It's interesting. And so you're doing this in hotels. Are you running ads to these events, or how are you filling them?
Yeah, so the seminars, we run ads, and we also drive our compliance funnel. So our compliance funnel feeds us obviously all of our leads, and then we drive them to our events, webinars or seminars.
Right, so a bit of email nurture there from using some of your other funnels, running some ads, drive them in. And you're typically getting how many to each seminar that you're doing?
So, on average, it is probably the lowest number we've ever had at an event was 73, and the biggest one we ever did was just over 150.
Wow.
Wow, 150. I've never had that many in a landlord seminar. That
No,
is phenomenal. The queen of
absolutely.
seminars.
Awesome,
Ali,
yeah.
when you're doing a seminar, mate.
I knew that was coming.
Poor Ali. Guys, this is Harriet Kirby from Richard James. Absolutely amazing to have you on. Thank you so much, Harriet. Absolutely amazing. You are our
Thanks for having
legend when
me.
it comes to seminars. Thank you very much. Now, we've got some really interesting things coming over the rest of the day. We're going to be talking about the 82%, how to really capture that market and convert those let-only landlords. We're going to be talking about how to restructure for profit. And we're also going to be talking how to scale. And we've got one letting agent who's added over 3 million to her business. And we're going to be interviewing her and asking her how she did it. All right, so we know quite a few people that have done a lot of these things, don't we? And made
Certainly
some
do.
big successes. So here's a few of the things that you can expect. Now, we've been working with agents now for about 8 years, in fact, since around 2016, 17. And in that time, we've actually helped over 350 letting agents, no less, add 6 figures to their business or more. It's quite a good
Impressive.
number,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
If you add it all up, all the money that they've generated, because some of them are 200, some of them are 500, some of them are millions, some of them are 100. If you add it all up, it's now 78 million pounds we've helped letting agents add to their business. Now we get them to fill out reports, to fully notify us and sign and all that sort of stuff. And every November we update that number. So in a few months we'll be updating that number. Maybe we'll get over 100, you never know. But 78 million is the number as of last November. So that certainly is a higher number than that now. We're going to move on to serving the 82% next. And we're going to bring a couple of people on stage in a minute. Jordan and Joshua first. I'm just going to talk to Ali, and then we're going to bring Jordan and Joshua on for serving the 82%. So serving the 82%, I've got down here, you've said already that you did 100 conversions in 1 year.
Yes.
But I know you've done a really, really good one. So let's just talk about what this is. So let only to fully managed conversion, what is it? Because we all,
Yeah.
I'll say this because what we think of when I say this is going on a valuation
Yeah.
and convincing a landlord to go fully managed, which is harder than turning soil into gold, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
it's a tough one, but that's
Yeah, of
not what
course.
we're talking about. So just explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, so thanks. So let only to fully managed. So we've this is about going for the 82% of self-managed landlords that already have tenants in situ, because let's all be honest, right? There's a lot of landlords that are doing it themselves and not keeping themselves in a compliant manner. They're not managing their rents very well. They're not keeping their paperwork up to date, their certificates up to date, and all the things on file. So we're talking about actually going for and working with the landlords that are currently managing with tenants in situ. We're not waiting for them to have a vacate so we can then try and put them on the market and convince them to go manage at that stage. And that's what this strategy is all about.
Okay, cool. Now you did 100 of these
Yes,
in 1 year, which is
Yes.
pretty awesome.
absolutely.
Let me just explain why I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome because you could go and buy another business and buy 100 properties. But actually, you could actually just do this.
You could.
And it ain't going to cost you anything.
Absolutely.
So I like it because it's a way to just increase your property stock without even paying a penny. So I think it's a really
agree.
cool way of doing it.
I agree. And if you get the right salesperson, you've probably already got your new clients on your database waiting to be nurtured and turned into new clients.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
So just talk to me about this this big one here that you were talking about to me earlier.
Yeah,
very
so
exciting.
I know. Yeah, this actually is my biggest ever win in terms of portfolio size, revenue size for the business. So I'm really pleased with that. It's this month. It's currently getting across the line. We've onboarded some of the portfolio, and we're just putting all the paperwork and files together, and we'll have it over the line in the next couple of months in terms of all verified, all with management and ready to go. But this is the absolute textbook from start to finish how the process should look like. So. Take it back about 18 months ago. This person with 31 properties, okay, so it's a really large portfolio. They downloaded a compliance guide, Enstar database. Since then, they've registered for webinars. They've had the follow-up calls with the guys, booked a couple of meetings. As Harriet alluded to earlier, as they keep showing up, they become your go-to, and they start contacting you for a bit of advice, a bit of help, a couple of valuations here or there, a couple of compliance questions. And so literally for about 5 webinars, almost 18 months, we were just keeping in touch and keeping her engaged. Now, we didn't know the size of this potential client at that point at all. In fact, on the webinar we did in February in the live chat, because me and Dawn do a fantastic sort of Q&A and live chat and all that sort of thing, she actually put in there, I've just inherited some properties from my ex. and the paperwork's not up to date. What would you recommend? Dawn's gone into a bit of a pitch about, I recommend you booking a call with Ali. I've then gone into a pitch, right, let me share a link, book a call, this is what it's all about. She's booked a tenancy health check. Now, I believe she had a handful of properties, got on the call, immediately said, well, I've actually got 31, maybe even more. I said, right, okay, fantastic. Gone through my health check process, compliance audit, asked a few questions, no electric search, no deposits registered, that sort of thing. Low rents, immediately can demonstrate that we can really add some value, and spent the next couple of months having a couple of meetings, going into a bit more detail, putting together a really solid proposal, and yeah, finally closed it and got it over the line. Now it's a case of tidying up compliance. Next step is optimising rents once we're all compliant and taken over. The client is going to be thousands of pounds a year better off.
So it probably won't cost her anything.
No, it's going to make her money. I mean, what she's going to pay us in management fees, she'll at least double in additional rents.
Fantastic.
So it's a win-win for both parties. It's worth about 180k revenue to the business in the next 4 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, we've also got Lang Llewellyn as well. Best webinar stats, 409. Give us a wave, Lang Llewellyn. Give us a wave. There you are. These ladies here. Fantastic achievement. I don't know, is Sophie or Rhiannon, do you want to just put your microphone on for a second and just have a chat about it? I've got 409 registrants, 114 attendees, 19 clicks on the night. This is the webinar. 30... No, I've got the wrong one. I'm reading the wrong one.
No, you're reading the right one. 19 clicks on the night,
19
37 booked from the replay.
Thank you. And 56 appointments in your diary from one webinar. Who's speaking? Who's turned your microphone off?
Fantastic.
Go on, Rhiannon.
I wasn't part of that webinar. Perhaps that's why we had so much good from it. But yes, we've recently got dedicated people to call out for the webinars. So they're calling to get them registered. They're calling them to remind them. Then they're calling them afterwards for feedback, calling them to say, oh, you didn't watch it. Have you received the link? So yeah, it's worked so well this time. I mean, it's our third one, and we've improved on the process for each of them after each one, and our next one is in a couple of weeks, so we're hoping to smash those figures.
For a third webinar, that is amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think Sophie says we've generated £27,000 from the last webinar so far.
Fantastic.
And some of them have watched all three, but communicated with us this time.
I think that's the thing with webinars, having them regular and showing up and scheduling them every quarter or so. You're building trust over time, and I think that's what the bigger portfolio landlords want, is they're building that trust with you as a brand, you as a company. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And those 50 odd appointments, so they're going to be landlords that are struggling with their tenants, landlords that are thinking of selling, landlords that perhaps have a bad agent or have a bad feeling about agents and don't use agents because they've had issues. You're going to have all sorts in there, aren't you?
The majority of them have, they've not used an agent, and just with everything that's coming, they've just thought, what, we can't be bothered with the hassle. Let's give the hassle to somebody else. And going through the health check, they might be doing the maintenance, they might be doing this and that, but they haven't caught on that you have to, with the referencing and the additional checks and issuing the how to rent guide, and every webinar we've had at least one landlord that hasn't protected the deposit. And how long has that legislation been in?
Yep.
It's crazy, isn't it? Let's give Rhiannon a round of applause. We do like clicky hands here. That's how we do it. There we go. Well done. Thank you, Rhiannon and Sophie. Amazing results. I think Sophie did it whilst Rhiannon was off, but well done, Sophie. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, Joshua and Jordan, let's bring them to the stage if we can. Joshua and Jordan, fairly new to all of this, but they've had amazing results. Some of the big achievements they've had, they've done some revenue generation, so they've added over 100k in revenue generation. I think they've added in total nearly 500,000. Is that figure right on here? And they had a phenomenal webinar recently where they had 28 attend, which is a really low number, but it's your first webinar. From that you had 20 people book appointments, and from that you had 9 fully managed. Now you, Ali, this is his reaction when I told him.
Yep. I said, wow, phenomenal conversion rate. I've never seen a conversion rate so high to appointment and then to conversion. That's fantastic.
No, I was just like, are those numbers right? Is there a naught missing off that 28 attended? I mean, this is crazy.
We were a little bit sad about the attendees. But
we weren't happy about the attendees. But
we thought,
what did you say to them? What did you do? You must have said something.
Yeah, quite. Well, this is part of it, right? Like, one of the things we were so excited about getting going with this is the timing is just so perfect. In years gone by, we would have had to speak about generic compliance and try and kind of, talk them around about things that they kind of knew but weren't worried about doing, and let's be honest, weren't getting prosecuted for. And so it wasn't painful for them. But the Renters' Rights Bill changes all of that. There's a remit for governments to actually go after and enforce all this stuff. It's going to be fully funded. The fines are much better. The local councils get to keep the money. By the time you've kind of built that picture, and then say, listen, you have to act like me now. The law has changed. So there are no such thing as self-managing landlords. You're now a professional landlord if you do it yourself, and you're judged in the same way that I am. And we've got, a team of 10 and a full-time compliance officer and all that. Like, do you have all this stuff?
We basically scared them.
Yeah.
Sounds it.
But it's all real stuff. It's not. It's what they need to know, isn't it?
This is the
Exactly.
point,
We
right?
scared them, but with real calls, and I think
With
that's
facts.
Yeah, and like John was saying, I think it is that building the picture of yourself as the expert, and I think the beauty of it is that they then want to come to you, and it's like you talked about before, guys, like you've got no other agents to compete with then, because they're literally coming to you and saying, we want you to manage it. You barely don't have to do anything. I think on one of the tenancy health check calls, I only did one, and the one I did had 3, and on the call he said, I think I need you to manage it for me, or them. And I was laughing. So I said to Josh, like the one I've done. I've got all 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't really need to do a lot of work at that point, because they'd already sort of set us up in their minds as the people they want to do it.
And compared to trying to get a landlord to go fully managed that's always been let only on evaluation, because it's what most people think we're talking about, how different is it? How easier is it, or more difficult?
It's night and day.
A world away.
Yeah,
a world away. And we didn't really need to talk about anything that we didn't know already on the webinar. It was all stuff that we knew. It was all stuff that we are doing day to day. And also just there was a bit of, to be honest, it was like good little snippets of information that we'd done based on things we'd seen targeting ourselves on Instagram and stuff like that, and we were just bringing it to them's attention that we've been targeted by this, your tenants are going to be targeted by this, and you need to pay attention. And it was so much easier, because they literally just, those 3, he literally on the call, I wasn't even selling anything. It's no hard sell, which is just such a lovely thing, because you just go through it, and as you go through it, he's like, well, I was going to say, I think you should manage them. And you're just sort of like, okay, great, let's get started.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, you've got that. It was the touch point, going back to what you were saying about people watching it. By the time they've seen you for an hour and a bit on the webinar, I think we were on there for about an hour and 20 minutes, say, and then they've had a couple of emails from me, and then they booked in another hour-long call. But we probably spent,
and we called them
in between, so they might have spent 3 hours with us. So that versus just getting advice, that versus an appraisal where they may already have their backs up a little bit. They're going to get sold to. You're trying to close the deal there and then. It's just a completely different thing. And again, lots of them just off they went. And we had the same thing. People come back to it, watch the replay. We had plenty of people watch it live and then watch the replay and then book. And there are a few people still in that funnel, so that number will increase through that.
Because I think we had 120 registered, and it was a beautiful
blazing
evening.
hot evening.
That's not good for webinars.
No.
We want rain. We want rain and snow and sleet.
Beers in the garden, but so there's a lot more, like Josh said, to tap in there for sure.
Well, so perhaps it was just beginner's luck and naivety. We didn't realize that was good. We were annoyed that it was only 20. We didn't get them all. I didn't know what good conversion rate looked like. So
well, I saw those numbers. I'm like, really? We've never had Ali. You need to do better.
I knew that was coming.
Poor Ali. Honestly, that's absolutely amazing. And are you still working through the calls? Have you done them all now? Or are you working on your next webinar? Where are you at next with this whole process?
Yeah. So two things. The compliance funnel has just gone back up, so those new leads are coming back through. They're going to get sent through to the next webinar.
That should be a good one.
The update.
Yeah,
So
good
yeah,
time.
that booked it towards the end of October. So with a bit of luck, we'll know what we're up against properly then. That was the plan anyway. And so yeah, we've got it all fired back up again, go again, and we've got the opportunity to put the second webinar to that first list of the 120 people that came in last time. With a bit of luck, that's just another touch point. Like you said, it's the process is beginning to work now.
We've also worked quite hard, so we've managed to get Josh out of the day-to-day a little bit. We've got someone starting on Monday who's going to be sort of our senior valuer and everything, and so we're hoping that him with the team, the front of house team, are going to basically be calling everybody rather than just us doing it. But we did do a hustle gang basically, and got everybody to call everybody before the webinar, and all of the compliance checklist lists to invite them to the webinar. So yeah, we've been doing quite a bit, but we haven't been really on it.
We haven't processed this correctly. It's been very much hand-to-hand combat with me calling everybody frantically. So yeah, with a bit of luck, the next one will be, well, I can't imagine it will be better conversion rate than that, but fingers crossed, we can hope.
Even I would say I don't think so, but hey ho, no, you never know.
Who knows?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you guys have done so well, and it's just the beginning of the journey. This is your first webinar, is that right? Your first
one.
First one. So you can only get better. You'll get bigger numbers. You'll get more people in, repeat attendees, and then when you get those consistent people coming again and again and again, it's just the beginning of the journey of converting those let-onlys to fully managed. And as I always say to Ali, and when we talk to a lot of people doing this, is like, do you remember when our targets used to be just lets? Do you remember our targets used to be like 15 lets a month or 30 lets a month or just do more lets? That's a bit old now, because it's not that easy to get new property instructions and just let them. And so, I know we work on a third. A third from let only to fully managed conversion, a third from standard lets, a third from on market and off market. So you basically buy the property that you're already managing. They're just gone on the market for sale. Have you yet changed, or is it too early in the journey yet for you to have changed that? Have you started to change your focus around the targets and how you're putting that into play?
Yeah, well, we have. We haven't had time. Basically, it's still been me largely.
Josh has had the targets.
Yeah, so it's me who's had the targets. so Dan, our new senior valuer who's coming, will be able to effectively take that day to day and allow me to fill up his funnel, really is what's going to happen. So
and to be honest, because of the background of our business and how we used to do things like a bit more of a white label back office, we've only really just been building out our front office, so we don't get a load of organic people coming in, new like you said, traditional lets. So it's
kind of 50-50. We don't have that. We don't have that people coming in. It's investor list and webinars essentially that we didn't have
we've got a bit of organic, but nowhere near as much as we're now getting.
Well, the average letting agency, what was the figure now? 3 to 4, was it?
I should say 3 to 4 leads a month, isn't it?
3 to 4 leads per month is the average letting agency is getting organic.
We probably get that. Yeah, we don't do anything.
Normal, yeah. And if you're not doing this, then you've got not a lot else. Some people doing leaflets, but
you will find as well, as I've found over the years, when you're the face of the ads and all your ad videos are out there, they're getting all those impressions all the time on your social media channels. You'll actually get a lot more sort of people ring. Oh, I've seen you on Facebook. Oh, I've seen your videos. I've seen this. I've seen that. Or you'll go in the sauna and all that sort of stuff. But so it will also help the organic stuff based on what you're doing and getting yourself out there as well. It'd be awesome.
I was on holiday once in Sardinia in the shower by the pool, looking very bedraggled, and somebody came and went, oh, "You're Sally Lawson." I'm like, "No, I'm not. Not the time or the place." Sorry, you were saying.
No, it's okay. I think it already has, to be fair, started.
That's good.
Having an impact for sure. The day after, I think one of the landlords actually just walked in the office and was like, "Oh, I saw that you did a webinar last night," and
the best comment I ever had from a landlord was, and it was actually a seminar, not a webinar, and it was because we did seminars from 1997 till COVID, and he said to me, Sally, he says, you do these seminars every quarter, he said, and I don't know why you do it. He said, you haven't charged me a penny to come here today. He says, it's really good of you. I says, well, you know, we're very kind people. We like to help people now. He says, yeah, I don't understand it. He says, my letting agent hasn't done anything like this and didn't tell me any of that stuff. Can I give you my property? I'm like, well, if you insist.
Yeah. Well, actually, we did have
I think
someone
he
do
answered
that.
his own questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had someone do
Fantastic.
that from the newsletter.
Okay.
The
Renters'
Renters'
Rights
Rights Bill
Bill.
update newsletter. So she didn't come through the webinar. That was cold traffic, and she was referred from her husband. So we managed her husband's property, but not hers. Stupid question. You know, are there any other stuff? Are there any other, you know, referrals that you can give us? Whatever. Anyway, we hadn't done it, and I just got a phone call one day to say, basically, I'm annoyed because it looks like my husband's getting all this cool updates from you, from somebody who looks like he's on my letting it, not doing any of that. So yeah, it's really
Brilliant.
good.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much. Let's give Joshua and Jordan a
Thank
round
you,
of
guys.
applause. Thank you very
Awesome
much.
work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. How amazing is that?
Yeah, fantastic.
Ali, we need to
Great
work on your
stuff.
stats, mate.
We do.
Honestly, that's serious. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get stats like that every day, are you? It's
For a
very
first
rare.
webinar as well,
We
so
tend to
encouraging.
say, if you want to write this down, it's around 15% is about average. 15% of the people on the webinar will usually end up booking a
book a
call.
call,
When you're beginning, you might get 10%. And there's no hard sell. You just say, look, if you want to talk to us, guys, you know, book a call with us. There's no big hard sell. 10 to 15%. So to get numbers like that is absolutely crazy. So we just had to have them on. Alrighty. So just take, if you can just show this slide for me, please. There's a few things to think about here when you're looking at converting landlords from let only to fully managed. So consider things like, you know, getting those ads out there, having different funnels, webinars, email nurture. There's loads of different services and things that you can offer as well. I can't see them because there's so much stuff on the screen at the moment, but if you take a screenshot of that, it'll give you an idea of the different things that you can do to really concentrate on let only to fully managed conversion. Of course, on market and off market as well, building an investor bank, etc. We launched the investor funnel, didn't we? And you had like 177 people register in a weekend to buy properties. And so many people say to me, there's no landlords out there buying at the moment. Nobody wants to buy at the moment. And Ali had 177 over a weekend, and 17 of those booked calls with you as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Ali was like, turn the thing off.
Yeah.
Turn it off. I'm like, no, just deal with it.
Crazy.
It's a common thing between me and Ali. Bless him. Poor Ali. I do feel sorry for you, but you deal with it very well.
Work it out.
All right, we're going to move on shortly now to restructuring your business, and we're going to pull forward Sunil Popat and Laura Johnson, Chloe and Ed and James Allen. If you could just bring those up, to get yourselves ready. I'm just going to talk to Ali briefly first, and then we're going to bring those guys up. So one of the things I've got here, which I'm really proud of you for doing this, is I can remember when I used to work in the business. I haven't worked in the branch now for 15 years, but when I worked in the business 15 years ago, I had 13 staff. We now have
6,
including you,
me, yeah,
including you, and you spend most of your time over here doing this.
Yeah,
so it's probably really 5. But anyway, we have 6 staff in the branch, and we've had some amazing results on the figures. And I always like to work out something called the earnings per employee. So if you might want to write this down, what is your earnings per employee? How much revenue do you generate per employee? And you're currently sitting at 177,000 per employee.
Correct.
And you've done this by restructuring. And we're in the section now talking about restructure. So just talk to us about how your business is different to other letting agency businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does it look?
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, obviously, you asked me a question a little while ago about, you know, what challenges. And as I say, you turn the leads on, then you have a challenge of who's going to call them and what you're going to offer and services and things like that. So the restructure really started with the introduction of funnel leads when it was, okay, we need maybe call setters, BDMs, telesales people. So it started off with looking at the staff mix. Then you start really focusing on those extra services, the let only to fully managed takeovers, you know, your landlord compliance rescue and whatever service. That's now another string on top of the open market lettings activity. Then the off market service, the buy to let services, all that, then you've got to add all of that. So what I've now got, so how it looks now, instead of just having traditional, you know, lettings manager, lister, negs, administrator, whatever.
Tenancy managers, accounts department.
Yes. We've gone through, there's a couple of things. So first it's restructuring the front office sales team. So we have like a sort of sub-team for traditional agency and non-traditional agency. So our new style BDMs, our hardcore salespeople from other industries, there to adopt the new strategies, the off-market deals and the big portfolio takeovers and that sort of stuff. And then we have our traditional agency staff to go and list properties and do viewings and do deals and do it the old school way. And that's working really, really well. We're currently implementing VAs for call setters and things like that. So that's working really well, and they have a different CRM to work off. One's a marketing CRM, one's the agency CRM, and it's a really cool setup. The other thing that we had to do was really clear the noise. So, the noise of tenancy management, our front office team don't want that in the office really. It's a sales environment, it's a totally different kettle of fish, and as you know, I'm probably not the guy to manage tenancy
I wouldn't
managers.
let you manage a property if you're the
I
last
know you
person on earth.
Thank
No
you
offence.
for that. So my skill set is obviously sales. I'm a salesperson. I'm traditionally an estate agent, but I'm a salesperson at heart. So that's my skill set. So I focus and stay on my lane. So we obviously outsource tenancy management. We outsource tenancy admin. Sales progression, I look at the similar sort of thing, but on estate agent, we outsource sales progression. Tenant inquiries, God, there was thousands of them coming in a month, and it's just ring, ring, ring. Everyone's having to answer tenants. We got the tenant calls out. We streamline that process. We use reception companies and auto forms and all sorts of stuff.
Facebook ads.
We've got ads managers. We've got we use videographers for video editing and filming. We have VAs doing various things in terms of admin, onboarding, compliance. You name it. What I can client accounting. What I can outsource, I outsource, and that's how we've got to a streamlined. Team of 6 people, just salespeople focusing on new business, and that's how we can get to £177,000 of revenue per employee. So, a couple of things there.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And the thing is that by doing that, what we've identified is those agents that were getting to 40 and 50% profitability have half the staff of other businesses. So think about now, we've got AI now. AI could probably do some of that stuff. So AI, outsourcing. Think about how you can use software, how you can use tech, how you can outsource. We've got a global economy now that you can find VAs all over the world with really high levels of skills that can do amazing things for you. So, and some people say, well, yeah, but you've got all the cost of outsourcing. So I worked it out. We did it today, didn't we, Ali?
Yeah.
We worked out if we remove the cost of all the outsourcing from that 177,000 per employee, and this is a new figure for everybody listening here, we're still at £123,000 per employee after the cost of outsourcing is removed. Now, to put that in perspective for you, the average letting agency in the UK earns £50,000 per staff member. And I went back to my accounts 15 years ago, and 15 years ago we were 43,000 per staff member. So it's just amazing what difference you can make by optimizing, squeezing, adding different services, adding value, outsourcing, get rid of the noise, and really make a different business. So it's a very different business now to what it used to be.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Alrighty, so I'm going to call up. We've got Sunil Popper, Laura Johnson, Chloe and Ed, and James Allen. So can we have them all on? Is that possible? Can we have them all on together? And if you come on and have a little bit of a chat. Hello, Chloe and Ed. Hello there. How are you? And there's James and there's Sunil. Look at James's tan for a second, guys. Just look at that tan. Wow. I've never seen a tan like it. I mentioned it in my. I did a story today, and I said, and you're going to meet loads of agents that have added 6 figures to the business and got amazing tans, and it was you I was talking about, James, when I said that this morning. I've never seen a tan like that. All right, so we are here talking about restructure and how by restructuring the business you've made a massive difference to your businesses. So I'm going to start off with Sunil, because very early in your journey here, Sunil, just talk to us briefly. I mean, you've added £102,000 to your business in 6 months since attending boot camp. So just give the viewers just an idea of the size of your business so we get a concept of that.
We have 250 landlord properties managed by the agency. In total, Laura's managing 550, which includes our stock as well. And we have a team of 10 in the office, which is Laura's the business manager. We have a lettings manager, 4 property managers, and 2 lettings. So then we changed after speaking to Dawn, yourself, and Adam, and listened to Ali. We went to Worldwide VA to get VAs. So we have 1 in property management or tenancy management, 1 in lettings, and we have a social media lady from the Philippines. So that outsourcing is partly to do with increasing the standard of compliance as well as service.
That's amazing. So Laura, you were a busy lady then, managing 500 properties.
Yes.
She still is.
I'm sure she is. Yeah, but you've added £102,000. Now, I remember when we first started this, Laura, it was about you were going to have to manage Sunil around this a little bit, wasn't it? Because he was just a little bit resistant to the change, just a little bit.
A little bit.
But you did it. Well done.
Yeah, we did it. We're a team working together now. I think sometimes I'm now his resistance because he wants to go all tech AI, and I haven't caught up that far yet. I started off questioning VAs, but now I love them. We couldn't operate without them. They've taken so much workload on. And my biggest fear was the remote management of VAs, time differences, but actually it works really well.
Fantastic. And we use Slack for all of our communications. We're chatting all the way through the day, and they literally just speed dial. I mean, our sales team, they just speed dial. I mean, all of a sudden Ryan's there. You know, so I mean, are you using Slack or a similar tool like that to manage them?
Yeah, we use Slack. So we also have VoIP calls, so they're just on an extension on the phone as well. The lady, our marketing lady, is amazing in the Philippines, and she actually works. She's part-time, but she works her hours around our working hours, so she works effectively 1 till 5, which I think is like up till midnight her time. So I'll do a call, and it's like, you know, she looks like she could like curl up and go to sleep sometimes, but it's like, I'll do it a little bit earlier for you. Yeah.
So some people get worried about VAs. Did you self-source the VAs? Did you go through an agent, broker, or what did you do? Where did you get them from?
We went through an agency for worldwide VA for our South Africans,
Cool.
and I think it was a broker, so they'll sorted that one out for our Philippine lady.
Wow.
Makes it easy. It's simple management, so it's
and you've gone from 10, 12, £15 an hour down to probably £6, £7 or £8 an hour. It makes such a big difference on the bottom line.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. So, Neil?
Earlier, I just wanted to come in before you move on to say that we had a webinar booked yesterday evening.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to make it with Laura because we both advertised that we'd both be on there. So Laura did the webinar on her own.
Wow.
Okay.
We had a tremendous number of people booked, a great number of people who actually showed. And the key thing was our staff were on there as well in their time to learn. But she had 10 appointments booked on the night.
Fantastic.
So what you were telling everybody before in November when we met, which was after the live, you said to me, Sunil, you need to move out of your own way and let Laura continue. Okay? And those words I say to you many times because they hit so much. And as life would have it, as I said, because of personal commitments, I wasn't able to be at the webinar, which I wanted to be. But she took the horse by the reins and did the whole seminar on her own with a little bit of support from our Carly, our tech support in the office, and 10 appointments today, which is fantastic. And I just wanted to share that with you and the team. That 10 appointments, and we've got more coming through.
Let's give Laura a round of applause. Well done,
Awesome.
Laura.
Absolutely fantastic.
But Laura will tell you the story about one person that she spoke to today. If I can just hand that, if you got a couple of minutes.
Go on, Laura.
So my first call this morning was actually a local agent who came on the webinar. She's also a landlord, but she's a sole trader. She manages a portfolio of 100 and is feeling stressed with renters' rights coming on. So obviously we're trying to utilise that suggested acquisition if she's looking to sell to get out of the business. So hopefully we'll just build that relationship, and maybe if she makes that decision, it could be an acquisition in the making.
Fantastic.
Have we ever had an acquisition from a webinar
from
a landlord webinar before?
I don't think so.
Wow.
There's a first time for everything.
You never know.
Ali, what are you doing, mate?
She's wanted a mentor. So, yeah.
That's
Thanks,
amazing. Oh, that's amazing. Well
Wonderful.
done.
Well
wow,
done.
that's
That's great work.
exciting, isn't
Yeah,
it? An acquisition
absolutely.
from webinar.
Keep us
That's new.
posted
New
on that.
strategy. All
Yeah.
right, cool. Let's go over to Chloe and Ed. So, come on, Chloe and Ed. I've got some amazing things from you as well. Through strategic wins, you've added revenue to your business. You've implemented off-market sales, let only to fully managed conversions that you've started to put in play as well. You've added over £100,248 to be exact, is the figure I've got written down here. So, just you tell me, what was your best strategy yet for reconstruction then? What was the thing that you really focused on, or what's really stood out as working for you?
Yeah, so after boot camp, I think for us is this idea of the delegation waterfall is just finding the time to do all these wonderful things that we're speaking about today. You know, we came away from boot camp thinking that all sounds amazing, but how are we going to find the time? And where are we going to put all those tasks into our existing business, which is completely at capacity and overflowing? So we had to focus on finding the time, improving efficiencies, and we took a lot of guidance from this idea of the delegation waterfall, which you guys at ARX train so much. You know, that not only are you passing on tasks that can be carried out by someone else, and also then stripping out, I know we touched on VAs already, but stripping out administration tasks that VAs can carry over so that we can find that really special, unique time to be more proactive within the business. So a blend of all of that together, and then also, you know, staffing is a big problem within agency, but what we've noticed from the delegation waterfall is that the staff has stepped up, taken on more responsibility, higher retention staff, better better job satisfaction, more promise of growth and support and training and qualifications. So for us, that was kind of the starting place, and now we can really, you know, continue with our wider plans.
So for those of you not knowing what the delegation waterfall is, it's basically a plan where you take 80% of the work that you do and you pass it to the person beneath you. The person beneath you is already fully employed and goes, so you take 80% of their work and you pass it down, and so you go on until you get to the bottom and you end up with a piece of software, AI or VAs that take on that work. And effectively it pushes your team higher and higher, gets them to take on more and do more, and it just really transforms your team. I've done this with all of my team, and obviously I left the business 15 years ago, and you know it's run itself since then. I've then done this with Dawn and got her out of the business. I had a co-director, Karen Mills, got her out of the business. Ali's in that process now, so he's probably 50-50, aren't you? One leg in the agency, one leg here coaching and things like that. So it's a great way to just get people out, and I've used it so many times. And are you finding yourselves got a lot more time now to focus on the growth and the strategy and those sort of things that you wanted to focus on now?
Yeah, good question. We're still working on it.
You need to do more of it.
But it's definitely giving us more headspace to, you know, sit back and work on strategies and that sort of thing. We're in a similar position to Jordan and Josh, actually. We've just hired a senior valuer that hasn't started yet, that's going to be taking on all of Ed's diary. Nice. So that will give us the headspace more so that we need to implement more lead generation strategies. Really.
So many business coaches and so many business books you read say work on your business, not in your business, but they don't tell you how to get from point A to point B. And this is what we're talking about, isn't it? How do you let go of the stuff that you've done for years? Our next guest, James, is going to talk about that as well. But it is a real valuable thing. So just finally, just tell us, what are you working on now? What's the plan now? You've obviously got some of your time back. You're working on the recruitment, getting the right people in play. What's next for you guys?
Attacking the 82%. You know, I saw a comment in the chat, and there was someone saying there's no new landlords out there. They're everywhere. We just got to go and find them. You know, we used to get so frustrated, and history of our business is that our dad started it from a long, long time ago, and he used to shout about how we would take on, 100 landlords in a month, but they don't exist anymore. They do. It's just we've got to go and find them by welcoming new strategies, the webinars, the proactive marketing, all the techniques that ARX share to go and get them and make it happen, because it is there for the taking, no question.
Yeah, definitely. We're just in the process at the moment of setting up our first funnel, which we took a lot of advice from Ali the other day on. So we're really excited to get that up and running. And now we've sort of sorted out the structure and everyone's kind of ready to take on the new leads. That's what our focus is now as well, the funnels.
Yeah, it's
Excellent.
fantastic. I mean, the answer to how to find these landlords is basically marketing. You've just got to do marketing. But people are still doing leaflets and, advertising banners on billboards and websites and SEO. And if you think about it, where's most of our attention most of the time? I think I've got my phone down here somewhere, or where it is. There it is. We're on our phones, aren't we? We're walking. You sit in a restaurant, you see people just sitting there looking at their phones. They're playing with their phones. And so the answer is you've got to market yourself digitally. You've got to get yourself, but also you have to have an offer that is more interesting than free valuation. So do you want to sell your property on market? Are you looking to buy investment properties? Would you like to attend a free webinar? Would you like to have a free compliance guide? Do you want to know all about the Renters' Rights Bill? It's all relevant content. It's all relevant marketing. It's not sending free leaflets out. It's quite a difference because you're quite an old business, aren't you? To transform from the older traditional to the more modern. Has there been a culture shift for you guys back in the office?
Oh, definitely, yes. When we did boot camp in December as well, and we came back to the office, and as you do, we were all excited and fired up, ready to go. And we were like, right, everyone, we're now doing this. And it certainly did take the team a bit of adjustment to our new way of thinking, if you like. But they are very much on board now, and they're as excited as we are. So I think as long as you deliver it and share it with the team in the right way, then everyone's now really geared up for the change.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
For us, it's so easy to get distracted by the other parts of the business, the sales, the auctions, and lettings always gets left with our marketing, with our new processes. So we've tried to be as disciplined as we can by sharing it across the whole business.
Yeah.
So, our wins have been quite slow, but because they're happening across the whole business, so we're building it in concrete, we're planning for future, we're planning for scale, we're planning for future growth. It's all coming along together nicely in harmony.
Well, an extra 100k, that's an extra 8k a month. It makes a difference as well, doesn't it? Because you can start thinking, what am I going to do with that? We're going to run some ads, we're going to scale up, we're going to new services. It just gives you choices, doesn't it? Gives you flexibility, gives you choices. So really exciting. Thank you guys. Thank you both for joining. Give Ed and Chloe a round of applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, exciting. The waterfall, delegation waterfall. Fantastic. Did you know you were in the middle of that?
Yeah, I was getting with the program. Yeah.
It's almost out, not quite out. Nearly got you out. James Allen, how are you, James? You okay?
Very well. Yourself?
Yes, good, thank you. Now we're here in the section talking about restructure, and guys, there is nobody I know that has restructured as much as James. He has completely thrown everything up in the air and rebuilt it from the ground up. It's been a massive, massive journey for James. And so I know you've done a couple of acquisitions since you started, which has been great, but also caused chaos. You've got back on the tools, off the tools, back on the tools. But the real story here is you've now generated well over £1 million in additional revenue since you started this journey. You've 3x the numbers of properties under management. But more importantly than all of that is you now have choice to come to work every day and do the things that you want. Hence the tan and the holidays, and you're probably wearing flip-flops as we speak as well, I imagine. He hasn't got his football shirt on, but he's probably got flip-flops on. You've created the life that you want, and I think that's the story here. So tell us a little bit about your journey on the restructuring that you've gone through in your business.
Indeed, yeah. So I was the guy at the back of the office, answering the phones, chatting to people, just flat out working all the time, and completely unable to run my business without myself, really. So it has been a complete restructure of the way that the business works. And funny enough, I've had an acquisition meeting with a chap today about taking on his business, and the conversation was very, very similar. And he's kind of, well, how do you do it? And we were just discussing the processes in which you separate and write down what you do as a person on a daily basis, and then look to reallocate that to somebody else so that you've got the space to move the business forward in the right way. It doesn't happen overnight, but it takes a period of time to kind of go through those stress points to extract yourself from the business slowly.
Yeah, and I know there was a bit in the middle, wasn't there, where you took on a couple of acquisitions, and there was a bit where it almost sucked you back in, didn't it, for a little while?
Oh God, yeah. And I was full of all these ideas of things that I wanted to do within the Agent Rainmaker program. and I just absorbed and kept taking on more and more work, and it just almost put me underground. It was crazy because I was so busy, and I was so busy focusing on growth, but I kind of forgot about the important process, which is actually scaling the business in the right way and creating the structure beneath, so that the business can grow in the right way. So I went from a period of time of being very small to being successful and quite big, but very busy, absolutely drowning and dropping down to the bottom of a pit and just being buried in 12-hour days and lots of work, to then getting back to the point that I can now focus every single day on running the business rather than working in the business, which allows me the time and the space to go on holidays and do the stuff I want to do. So I've evolved a couple of times over.
Yeah, and it's really quite exciting because you've gone from 1 to 3 branches. What were the numbers again? 300 to was it 900 properties, and you actually have an office now that you work in alone, where you're sitting in it now. I recognize it. You don't even go into the office, but you do that because you like work and you want to work, but you just want to stay out of the noise. And I think it's great. You're not hearing all the stuff that's going on, are you? You can just absolutely focus on the next thing you're working on, which I know for you is AI and tech.
Yeah, and the problem I had, Sally, is with one of the acquisitions, I was basing myself within the business, but I was just earwigging everything that was going on, and it was really affecting my ability to focus on where I needed the business to go. I wanted to help all of the staff and so on, but it was bogging me down, and I wasn't really allowing them to crack on and do their work, and hence why I'm sat in an office on my own, looking at a set of targets and 2, 3, 5, 7-year plan, this kind of thing, that has a very clear vision now of where I want the business to be. But it's taking me that period of time to get there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can remember when you first started this journey, actually, you sent me a screenshot. I think it was PayProp or something. You sent me a screenshot. Do you use PayProp? Is that what you sent me?
Yes, yeah, indeed, yeah.
You do? And you sent me a screenshot of like, look at this. And your revenue had gone up by 30 grand a month.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you remember sending me that screenshot? And it was like, it's like a little graph, and it went do, 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 boop.
Yeah,
it's like bang, just like that, just through making some changes in the business. It was, and I know it's not about the money for you, but it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And by virtue of that, by virtue of the changes we made initially with ARX, it enabled us to make another acquisition. So I wasn't having to borrow any money. It was just paid for by the additional profit we'd created from making the first acquisition. So it was almost a natural step forward.
Nice, mate. It's absolutely amazing. You've been on an amazing journey, James. You really have. Because there's a lot of detail in there for people to learn from you as well.
There is. And I think if you're somebody that's been is bogged down by work and working many hours and feeling slightly trapped, you can relate to this. And I think if you're somebody that's wanting to increase and scale your business and increase profit, you'll be able to relate to it too. So it's it's going to be quite exciting.
Thank you very much. Let's give James a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. We've got to go through the next section yet, which is scaling through acquisition. But just before we do, just take a screenshot of this. You can put it on the screen for me, please. Here's some of the things to think about if you're looking to restructure your business. Some different things to look at: restructure your marketing, restructure your services, stop doing free stuff, make sure you're charging correctly, outsource everything you possibly can, use remote roles as much as you can, VAs, etc., and start to think about what is your revenue per employee and also your revenue per property that you manage, as well as some guidelines there for you. All right, so let's have a look now. We're going to talk about scale. Okay, we're going to talk about scale. So I'm going to invite up here John and Steve Locke, and then we have our mystery guest is going to be joining us after that, the 3 million lady. But not to be outshone here, we have John and Steve, who have an amazing journey. So when we first met them, they were probably turning over around 100,000 a year, if give or take, thereabouts.
Yeah, about 100,000. Sorry, I'm overcutting you there, Sally.
No, you carry on. What was it about? What? Sorry.
About 100,000, and I never really had this chat with you, I suppose, but we had a very kind of weird journey from doing a bit of rent to rent and accidentally kind of started managing other properties for other people. So it was kind of a bit of a hybrid. We don't do any more rent to rent anymore, but at the time it was it's very amateur. We'd never worked for any other estate agency, so we didn't really know what we were doing back then. Steve would probably say we weren't very compliant back then either. Would you reckon?
Not to where we are now.
We've learned a lot along the way.
And now it's over 800,000. Is that right?
Yeah, our revenue
Wow.
is about 875,000 from
That's
the revenue
amazing.
tracking we filled in recently. It might be a little bit more now because it's been a few months since we've properly looked at it. But
So you've gone
yeah,
through quite a lot of a challenge because you've not only had to go from being small and inexperienced, as you say, to now you've got a bit of a machine that you're running. So you've had all that systemization, organization, back end. You moved from rent to standard lets. I know you deal with HMOs. I know you're doing off market and on market webinars. Have you done a webinar yet?
yeah, we've done a few webinars.
Webinars as well.
He's the front man on the webinars.
So just talk to me about how different your business is now and how different your day is now compared to what it was before, because you've had massive, massive change.
It's unrecognizable. What would you say, Steve? It's completely different to today to what it was 4 years ago when we came to Agent Rainmaker Live. We were in the shed at the end of the garden. Now we've got our own high street office. It was me, Steve, and one other guy. Now there's 16 people on the payroll.
Wow.
Rent that we were using spreadsheets. Now we're using proper software. We didn't really have a marketing strategy. Now we've got funnels. Yeah, everything's different.
It's amazing, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
You see businesses that have been trading 30 years that don't have effective marketing strategies and multiple services like what you guys have got. But that's truly being reflected in the revenue that you're generating, which is absolutely awesome. I mean, when you look back, you must think you're completely unrecognizable to what you were. It sounds like a complete contrast to that. What's next for you guys? Where are you going next with your restructure? Because I know you've had a recent acquisition that you've done and you've had the chaos of embedding that. Has that given you another branch, or have you embedded that into your existing branch? Where are you at with that?
Do you want to go for that one, Steve?
Yeah, so that one's been luckily embedded into what we've got going on at the moment. So saved a load of costs there, which has allowed the revenue to go up so much. But I think the biggest thing for us now is recognition. We were a very small agent and we did all the marketing and got our name out there. And then when we took over this acquisition that was double our size, been established for 30, 40 years, it was like, hey, how sure who are they kind of thing. But then we got established with this company that chose us over other big corporates because of who we are, our ethos, and what we were getting up to in the local market. So that's definitely allowed us to fly our wings. And I think probably the next one, maybe the next strategy is probably not as big an acquisition. Let the chaos kind of settle and get back on those disturbed acquisitions. But definitely continue to spread our wings.
It's great because a lot of people that are small, 100 properties, they can't see the way to make that change. It's like they're just running around managing those properties. There's no money, there's no cash, there's no time. What came first for you? Was it freeing up the time, freeing up the money? Was it learning the way? What came first for you guys?
I'd probably say learning the way, if I'm honest with you, because we kind of knew what we were doing and renting the property out, and we've definitely clued up and got smart along the way. But I think every time we kind of made a bit of money, we employed somebody else, and it's been. I think we're finally at the point now where it can be about the money, and we can begin to start to enjoy that side of it because it's been very much learning the way, enjoying the journey, and just making sure the machine works start to finish. And we've still got teething issues with the acquisition, and I think there's just growing pains, but. Yeah, I think it's really nice to kind of go for those targets now and hit and make some kind of net profit targets that we can go out and smash, and some revenue figures to go out and smash, and earnings per employee. You mentioned earlier on, Sally, I've done some work on that recently. We're about somewhere between 70 and 75,000 per employee at the minute. So we want to do some work on that to make that six figures. There's so many metrics and measurements that we hear you guys talking about that we look at our business, and it's just such a different way to look at a business and review what you've been up to.
Yeah, most letting agents, when you don't do all of this stuff, it's how many properties have you got, how many branches have you got, how many staff you got, and what's my market share, and they measure themselves on that.
Yeah.
But the reality is it should be profit, earnings per staff ratio, cost effectiveness, earnings per property. There's so many things we should be looking at that we just don't look at. And it's early days for you guys, but what a journey you've been on to go from 100 properties up to £800,000 additional revenue added. I mean, it's just an absolute phenomenal journey, and it just shows no matter where you're at, what you can actually achieve. So let's give these guys a massive round of applause. Thank you, John and Stephen, for joining us. It's an amazing journey. I can't wait to see what you do next. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All righty, so I told you we had a big superstar coming on stage, someone that has added, well, she's a superstar.
Absolutely.
In our world, she is a superstar. It's like, we're not worthy, for this lady when she's coming on. Over 3 million, she's added an additional revenue, which is a whopping number. But when I tell you that this person wasn't even a business owner 4 years ago, it becomes an even more inspiring number. Because when I talk to letting agents that have been going like 20, 30 years and say, add 3 million, they're like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. And then I go, well, here's a lady who wasn't even a letting agent, she was just working in one, has added that in the last 3 years. So it's absolutely amazing. It really is a journey. So who am I talking about? Can we bring her to the stage, please? It is Rhiannon. There she is. We saw her earlier today talking about the webinar success that she's had. But that is just one of a gazillion things that Rhiannon has done. And if, when sometimes you meet people and you just know that you tell them to do something and they will just do it. There's fire over there, run into it. Rhiannon would run into it if she thought there was an opportunity for growth. She literally would. So thank you very much for joining us, Rhiannon. Honestly, I'm breathless at the thought of the journey you've been on, to be fair.
So am I sometimes. That's why I'm so grey.
not being a business owner. And these guys, they've taken on this massive office premises in Cornwall. I don't know how many staff you've got. I don't know how many properties you manage, but you have a behemoth of a business. It's absolutely huge. Give us some stats. Just tell us where you're at now, because it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, so we're properties are around 850. We've got more to add from the recent webinar that we talked about earlier. I've just done a count of the staff because I knew you were going to ask me and I had no idea. So we've got 10 full-time, 6 part-time and 2 VAs, plus myself, Sophie and Charlotte. As you said, we moved into beautiful new offices, which made such a difference to the team. We didn't realise how much it was dragging us all down, and the team is so much more productive now. Our portfolio of students is at 180 houses. I think we've got nearly 1,000 tenants, student tenants.
Wow.
So yeah, it's evolved, like you said, since that November in 2022 when we signed the business at AR Live. Who'd have thought where we would be by now?
I know, and it was just amazing. You signed for your business and then you started working with us, and just to see you absolutely rock it. But I know one of your favourite strategies, and the reason you're here, is acquisition. You like to acquire businesses. So just tell us your role now. I mean, you don't even have a phone on your desk. Sophie took your phone off you, I hear. No phone. Yeah. All you're allowed to do. Yeah, all you're allowed to do now is acquire.
We're moved to the other end of the office. And I had to ask my daughter the other day how to put a job sheet through on SME. I didn't know how, so she showed me. But yeah, the acquisition side for me, I just love that part, finding out about other people's businesses, sitting and chatting to the owners that want to sell for retirement or just can't be bothered anymore, and the upcoming legislation. And it does take time, the share purchase agreement, the one we've just gone through now is 70 pages long. So you've got to go through that with a fine tooth comb and make sure that every legal aspect's covered. Working with our team, now we've got a bigger team. It's not just myself and Charlotte that do the due diligence as well. The senior team help with that. Then it's planning for the onboarding. All of our acquisitions so far are folded into our one office, and we've retained the staff. Our next acquisition is going to be a standalone office further up the county. So we'll have an office and 3 staff that work there. So it'll be about integrating the team, back-end management in our main office, the front-end management working from the new office. So that's going to be a whole different set of skills, making sure that they feel included in part of our team as well. And getting to know those landlords and the properties. And we're in Cornwall, so that it's on the doorstep, but it can be quite remote when the properties are sort of spread over a 20-30 mile radius from each office. So
now you're not doing this alone. We've got Sophie there. Give us a wave, Sophie. I can see you sitting there. There's Sophie. So Sophie is the one that deals with the stuff. Rhiannon gets it and goes, doop, there you go. And Sophie sorts it out. She is the legend in the back.
Here's what we're doing next.
And
Here's
she's
the
like,
process sheet.
slow down, Rhiannon, slow down. No, I've just got another one. No, stop. But it's great. It's it's a partnership, isn't it? You guys work so well together. You're out there acquiring, Sophie's doing the nuts and bolts and making sure everything's working, managing the shop, all that sort of stuff. It's a teamwork play. But I know you've absolutely focused on acquisition. So just talk to me about your day. For those people here that are thinking, I'd love to do an acquisition, but I can't find them. What tips would you give people on how to do an acquisition? Just very simple.
I think a lot of it is making people aware that you're looking to acquire. So when we did our management buyout, we sent out a PR letter to all the single agencies in Cornwall to say, we've just done a management buyout and we would look to acquire an agency if you're thinking of selling. And that's why in our first year, we had 4 agencies come to us just from that one letter. And it's not necessarily for everyone, but we're in touch with the brokers as well. So if they get anyone across their door that haven't necessarily picked up our letter, just to make sure that we're at every avenue if someone's thinking of selling. Sophie was on writing letters again today, just going back out to people that we've written to before, with all the changes that are coming and the business development relief that goes up again in April. Now's going to be the time when people are thinking, maybe before renters' rights come in, maybe before we lose the relief, and maybe before the budget changes again, we'll think about getting out.
Fantastic. It's an amazing what you've been doing. One of the things we showcase at boot camp is how to buy a business without using any cash, because and you're doing bigger deals than that, but when you first start out, it's a great way to acquire just 50 units at a time, 100 units at a time, something like that, and you do no cash in deals, so you're using the money in the business. Then obviously later on you're looking at funding, or you get joint venture partners, or whatever the case may be, but it's a great way to scale fast. And if you look at all the big companies in the world, they all scale through acquisition. So it really is the way to go. And I know Rhiannon has a super big dream of just acquiring absolute gazillions and probably taking over the universe. So we'll just hit her up if you want to sell. She'll sort you out.
Doesn't matter where you are.
She'll buy it. Doesn't matter. From John O'Groats to Land's End, she's happy. It's fine. But absolutely amazing journey. And you've been doing this now for 2.5, 3 years. Where are we at since you started?
Yes, it will be. It'll be 3 years when we get to November.
3 years since you get to November. Wow,
yeah.
Nearly 3 years. That's amazing, isn't it? And you've added £3 million of the revenue accumulated over those 3 years from the strategies that you've learned.
More than 3x the portfolio. Actually, we've got less staff now, I think, than when we first started.
Less staff, more revenue. Sounds good, Rhiannon. That means more profit.
What have we got that idea from?
I don't know.
It's been a whirlwind, but I never wake up in the morning and think, I don't want to go to work today. I think, right, what are we going to do today?
It's a long cry from when you were just just working in a letting agency as a member of staff. What a journey to go on, because just that bit about learning how to be a business owner itself is massive. So you've had to do all that whilst you're doing all of this. So it really is a massive journey for you and Sophie. So you guys are absolutely amazing. We absolutely love you to bits. And you have been our Agent Rainmaker of the Year as well, which is really exciting. Yes. So yes, very much. Let's give Rhiannon and Sophie a massive round of applause. Thank you very much. How cool is that? Guys, thank you so much for this. Have you had an amazing day, guys? Amazing evening? Has this been good? If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. All right, you have been showcased, guys. You have been here to the Level Up launch. Did you like our funky signs, by the way? The Level Up launch. And we have been showing you all the things that as letting agents we need to be thinking about. Some of the things that these amazing guys have actually done so that you can go away and do it in your business. And I thank you so much for joining me here this evening. It's amazing for you to come here tonight. And I'll see you all soon. Thank you. And from Ali?
Thank you. Thank you very much. See you all soon, guys. Great evening. Great to be here. Thank you.